Welcome to r/TalesfromTechsupport. This is one of my favourite subreddits and it's been a long time since I've done a video on it. So if you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too. And a huge thank you to the members of our channel. It's hugely appreciated. And with that being said, let's get straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Kaya Solrak. That projector hasn't worked for over a year. You can't fix it. How did you fix it? So for context, I worked for a little while at a school that uses a lot of outdated tech, and they brought some projectors a few years back and installed them on the ceiling, making it near impossible for someone to check if it has an issue. So this class decides to watch a movie that had something to do with what they were seeing at the time. Unfortunately, the classroom they had selected had a projector that supposedly didn't work. So they called me because their computer wouldn't even detect the projector. I got up to the ceiling to check it out and I started to see if it could turn on manually. I couldn't. I checked if the cables were loosely connected. They weren't. Then the teacher said, "Don't waste your time, that thing's been broken for over a year." A student made the original joke, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" A few laughed, but then I remembered that these classrooms sometimes had a switch to turn on the electrical flow to the projector. I eventually found it on the side of the teacher's desk and decided to give it a flip. It wouldn't hurt to try. Turns out, no one had touched that switch for over a year. The projector immediately lit up and it connected to the computer in a few seconds. Afterwards, the teacher just stared at me and repeatedly told me that it was broken and asked how did I fix it. Before I simply said, I turned it on. Classic. Our next story is from Bradley547. One cell site was driving me nuts. This was probably the most frustrating incident I've ever experienced. While working for a large heartless telecom company, I was involved in extending cell phone coverage by adding cell towers in rural areas. These sites had no facilities besides power for the most part, so the sites were connected to the network with point-to-point microwave T1 links. We had one site on the flattest part of the state that for the most part worked fine. It had a link to another site 15 miles down the road. For some reason, when spring rolled around though, every day at 12 exactly, the T1 uplink would fail. Did I mention this site was rural? Since there was no uplink, the site could not be troubleshot remotely, so I'd have to drive the 100 or so miles to the site from our central office. Invariably though, the site would be running again by the time I got there. After about the third try, I made an early trip down there to be on site at noon to see what was happening. Sure enough, 12 rolls around and down it goes. But nothing is wrong with the hardware at all. After another few days of 4 hours of windshield time and all the frustration I could stomach, I finally convinced the site engineer to come out with me. He was just as befuddled as I was, until he climbed up the mast with a pair of binoculars to check out the line of sight. "So that's what it is," he says. What was happening was an almond farm, directly between our two sites, lit off their irrigation sprinklers every day at noon sharp. The change in humidity and air temperature was just enough to bend the microwave line of sight so the link would drop. We swapped out the 2 GHz link for the 5 GHz one and never had another problem. But that one site definitely influenced my drinking for a while. Our next story is from Connaught Place. It turns out it takes more than 1 hour to learn to use a computer. Customer buys his elderly father his first computer. I'm sold as an add-on to give him 1 hour of training. We spend the first 20 minutes learning to left click and right click. Double clicking is not even in the realm of possibility. He simply doesn't have the motor skills in his gnarled hands. We run out of time, long before I can even go over the genealogy program that was supposed to be the main goal of the training. I install it for him, but that's as far as we get. I call up the son, in his 40s, and try to express my concerns about the feasibility of his goals. I alert him his father will need a lot of help and try to set some realistic expectations. I'm surprised he goes complete jerk mode about it. He claims the salesman told him we would teach his father about everything he needs to know about the computer and how to print, use the internet, etc. I tell him it was a 10-minute process getting him to use the power button and he's going to need a lot more help. He accuses me of shaking him down for more money. I tell him he definitely shouldn't be paying me $120 an hour for training. Find a 10-year-old and give him $5. He threatens to return everything due to my horrible customer service unless I keep teaching his father until he has it all down. I tell him I don't have 3 months to spend with him. He continues the verbal abuse over the next few days as he calls in for tech support, claiming all sorts of things are broken while I keep telling him it is user error. He nearly explodes in rage one day as now the keyboard doesn't work. He says he went over to troubleshoot it himself and random characters will pop up all the time. He brings the computer in and I can't find anything wrong with it, but I give him a free keyboard. Of course this keyboard is faulty too, with the exact same problems. He assures me he's tested it himself and that I need to stop denying there is a problem. I tell him I need the computer, the keyboard and his father all together at once. He's ready to kill me at this point and berates the manager and salesman about how I refuse to fix the myriad problems of this lemon computer. I tell them all I can't fix it without seeing it, but I'm positive it is user error. I feel bad as this old man drags everything in himself. I clear my schedule and set it out right there and then and ask him to demonstrate the problem in front of the manager and salesman. I'm shocked none of them see the very obvious problem. The guy's hand is so gnarled he isn't so much as typing as he is banging the keyboard while wearing mittens. He's also resting his wrists directly on the stuck keys. I call the son, remind him I told him all this the very first day and let him know the problem is as fixed as it can be, as I train the old man to use the hunt and peck method of typing. I stopped hearing from him after that. I feel so sorry for the old dude in this one because he's trying to learn the computer as well. How many older generation actually want to use a computer now? And for someone that's wanting to learn it, you just want to give him as much help as possible, you know. Our next story is from The Madness of Hatters. Engineer doesn't know a server needs to be turned on. First time poster here. I work as one of 2 on-site technicians at my company. End users are honestly the best, but we still have the occasional "how did you not know this" situation that makes me question my own sanity. For this story there is me, and engineer, non-IT. Engineer has a server that will be used to pilot a new system we plan on implementing. I, monotonously, re-imaging countless PCs and questioning my career choices. Engineer knocks on the office door. "Hey OP, you have a quick sec to look at a server I'm having issues with?" I'm looking for any reason to do something different. Of course! Brings me back to the lab and shows me the server. Now to be fair, these engineers are some of the smartest / most competent people I know, and have proven multiple times that they know how to troubleshoot their own problems effectively before contacting us. So at this point, I'm wondering how bad is this thing messed up? Engineer says everything is wired up correctly and plugged into power. I've swapped out every cable and external device with new ones just to be safe, but I can't get anything to come up on the monitor. Me, verifying that he did in fact do all of this. How old is this server? He shows me the box it came in, and the thing is brand new and just came in today. No signs of physical damage, so I'm thinking hardware defect. I see the front panel is lit up, so the server is getting power. Do you mind if I turn it on? I want to see if any fault lights come on. Engineer, as I'm reaching for the power button. That's the problem. It won't turn. Click. Press the power button and the server starts right up. No issues. The engineer said, "I didn't know you had to press the power button." I'm questioning my career choices again. Server's fixed. We both got a laugh out of it. Dude is a great guy, so I can't be frustrated with him. Still have to wonder how someone that smart thought that you didn't have to turn the server on first. Brain fart time, I think. Our next story is from the Lightning Count 1. The Wi-Fi is low. Can you refill it? Got a call from an older user today who just had complete lack of knowledge with how things worked. Short one, as I'm just transcribing the call. I said, "Hello, this is me with IT." The user said, "Hello, my Wi-Fi is low and I was wondering how to fill it up." About 45 seconds of silence. I say, "I'm sorry, what do you need assistance with again?" The user says, "My PC says Wi-Fi is low. Can you refill it?" I say, can you just read the error message off for me?" The user then says, "1 second, let me see if I can Oh, it says Citrix has detected low connectivity, which can affect your performance." I say, that means your connection to the internet is either interrupted or of low quality. "Yeah, and I'm on that Wi-Fi stuff. If it's low, I should just refill it." "Sir, that's not how it works." "So what do I do?" Log out of Citrix and then restart your PC. Go to your modem/router and unplug them. Wait 10 seconds and plug them back in. Then once your network reinitializes, log back into Citrix. The user says, "And that will work?" I say, "If that does not work, you will need to call your ISP, Internet Service Provider." User then says, "And ask them to refill the Wi-Fi." I said, "Yes, ask them and they can let you know what needs to be done." You said, "Alright, thanks for the info." I hung up, wondering just how that poor level 1 tech will respond to the question of how to refill the Wi-Fi. My favourite comment on this one just says, "Pardon me neighbour, might I bother you for a cup of Wi-Fi?" Our next story is from Farrell987. I watched a user commit fraud. So I have a good one for you all. About 5 months ago, I just started at my current job, technical support for point of sale systems. This also happens to be my first IT related position. This happened about 3 weeks into the job, so I'm fresh meat with a whole lot to learn yet. For the sake of the story, let's call this restaurant Bob's Restaurant, and the user Kevin. Call from one of our partner dealer sites. Caller ID says Bob's Restaurant. Answers phone, POS support, how can I help you today? The user says, hi, this is Kevin from Bob's Restaurant. I'm trying to delete an account in the back. I say, okay, give me 1 moment to get logged in and assist you. We use a remote connection program on all our sites. The back computer acts as a server for all the POS stations. Gets logged in. I say, alright sir, could you show me which account you're trying to delete? The user says, yes, it's this account here. User hovers mouse over an account with more than $3,000 USD of balance. It's important to note that the account acts as tabs. Customers can come in, put items on their accounts, and then come in at a later date and make payments on their accounts to reduce the balance owed. So for this account to have $3,000 balance means that the account owes $3,000. I say, okay Kevin, give me a moment here. I say to my supervisor, hey, this guy wants to delete an account with 3k on it. No way we're allowed to do that, correct? The supervisor says, nah, not without a whole lot of security questions and documentation to cover ourselves in case of an audit. I say to the user, you said your name was Kevin, could I please get your last name and position at the restaurant? The user says, my name is Kevin, blank, I'm a general manager. I said, okay Kevin, what is the reason for deleting this account? He says, what's with all these security questions? I shouldn't be getting interrogated, I have a request and it's your job to do it. At this point, I knew some fishy stuff was going on. I said, I apologise Kevin, but I'm going to have to discuss further actions with my supervisor as I cannot authorise the deletion of an account. It's company policy not to do any actions that could compromise a restaurant's profits or cause legal repercussions. This is a huge red flag. I said to the supervisor, so the guy says he's the GM, but this seems a little off to me. He got real defensive when I asked him some questions. The supervisor says, okay, let me take a look at what we've got. Looks over my notes. We discussed the possibility of fraud. As we're discussing it, I hear over my headset, fuck this, I can do it myself. Kevin immediately selects the account and hits delete. Hits the confirmation, and boom, just like that, an owing balance of 3k gone. He immediately hung up afterwards. My supervisor told me to log everything and be as detailed as possible, including timestamps and include the call log. This was forwarded to my boss and later the restaurant owner, who confirmed with us that the account was held by Kevin's close friend. I'm not aware of what happened to Kevin, but I have my assumptions. This was my first taste of how awful people are at times. He cost the restaurant 3k. Moral of the story, note down everything no matter how significant you think it is. It may very well protect you in the future. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed these Tales from Tech Support. I do like these stories sometimes, especially the innocent ones where people don't have a clue of what they're doing. I love that stuff. If you did enjoy these stories, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Much love guys.